Hello and welcome along. It's a very special Betting Weekly game bet match. You thought you saw The Last of Us this week, but unfortunately for you, and fortunately for myself and Sean, you haven't. So we've come back with a very special Betting Weekly game bet match, Olympic special. It's the men's single starting tomorrow. So we're back where we were early in the week.
Well, I haven't
Sean's
moved. This is my patio.
You've been here all week, sitting here all week.
Not in this exact position, but yeah, I've been
moved
here pretty much all week. If you want me, I'll be either here or in there or at the football pitch, which is over there, watching Lagan play football. That's basically it. That's all I've done. And obviously the tennis, which is 5 minutes over there. Other than that, that's about it, really.
I am absolutely boiling today, and you reckon it's not as hot as it has been all week?
No,
I'm telling you, it's absolutely roasted. Hottest day so far.
What I said was, I don't think it's any hotter today than it's been in previous days. I think it's about the same.
Oh, I think it's hotter today.
It depends, because when the sun comes out from behind the clouds, it's really, really hot. But then the sun goes in, it's obviously...
Well, you've just been sitting here with the air conditioning up there. I've just had to walk 15 minutes.
I've been doing I've been looking at all these
in an air conditioning apartment.
Load of matches and stuff on this tournament that we're talking about.
It's boiling today, and it's going to get hotter tomorrow.
No hotter than it was the other day.
Anyway, Sean is leaving tomorrow, unfortunately.
I am.
Are you sad to go?
Yeah, well, in a way, yeah, I quite like it here. Lagan is a bit much after 7 days in a very small apartment. Doesn't want to do anything other than play football, watch YouTube, occasionally look at the fish. He likes doing scuba diving, sort of scuba diving type thing in there. Yeah. He likes looking at the fishes in what he calls their natural habitat.
Oh, lovely.
But he won't do anything else.
No.
So there's no chance. Unlike yourself, I don't get to go to restaurants and stuff because he won't have it.
Well, we're very fortunate that our children have grown up, so we're allowed to come on our own and enjoy these.
Sadly,
social
I
times.
don't have that.
We've been raving all night last night to the band. We're down the local boozer. We've had restaurants.
How's Paula getting on with them mozzie bites?
Oh, she's found now that the local grappa sort of make the local drink sort of stops them.
Drinking it or putting it on the bites?
No, just when you have a few of them, you don't even notice.
Oh, well,
you could be bitten 100 times. You don't even notice.
I suppose so.
Anyway, that's our little trip here in UMag. It's been a fantastic couple of days. A fantastic week out here. The final is obviously tomorrow. The semi-finals to today. I've given a little video on the Because We Win Instagram page, and I'll go over to the tennis a little bit later on and give you some updates on there as well. So follow us at Because We Win on Instagram and on socials. But it's about the Olympics today. The Olympic tournament over the years, it's been a funny one, hasn't it, Sean? I mean, I spoke to Roy Giovanni about this on the WTA show.
Yeah,
it was a tournament when it first came about that nobody really cared too much about. You look at the winners of it: Marozsán, Nicolas,
Miroslav
Michir. I mean, it was a tournament.
The cat, as he was known.
As it's got as we got going in modern years and recent Olympics, it's become an important factor. So, for a tennis player, where would they sort of place this? Is it? It's not the same as a Grand Slam.
No.
Is it like a 1,000 event? How would you look at it when you bet on it?
I think if you're Novak Djokovic, if you're looking at it from a player's point of view, I think if you're Novak Djokovic, you want to win this because Nadal's done it, and he hasn't done the Golden Slam. People like obviously Nadal has done it. I guess he did it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess he did it. Knowing now Djokovic likes to be perceived, as the best, I think it's going to really aggravate him that he's not won this. He hasn't done the Golden Slam. People will say to him in 10 years' time, "Yeah, you were pretty good. You won 24 slams, but yeah, you didn't win the Olympics."
Well, were they really going to worry about it?
I think he would. It depends on your personality. Federer never won it either, did he?
No.
He won the doubles.
Murray's won it
with
twice.
Wawrinka. Murray's the only one, I think, certainly in recent times in the Open era that's defended his Olympic title. I just think Djokovic will be really aggravated that he hasn't won it. You could tell that when he lost last time, he was smashing rackets and all sorts, wasn't he, in Tokyo when he lost. I think that will really aggravate him. And Nadal's done it, and he hasn't. But the rest of the players, where do they put it? I don't know. I think for players like Casper Ruud, just looking at the names on the sheet there, to win a gold for like Norway, I think that would be quite a big thing for some of these guys. I think it depends on the individual player, and I think they all see it differently.
I just think where would it, when we go into majors, we don't get many shot winners, because the big players really take it seriously. You get more shot winners in like ATP 250 events. I'm just thinking from a betting perspective, where would you sort of picture the motivation for some players and other players not so motivated?
That's guesswork, that is.
It
depends. You think if they entered it at all, they don't have to enter this tournament. You think if they entered it, they would be motivated to win it. You would have thought. I can't imagine they would just do it just for the sake of it, because it doesn't really fit in, does it? It's in the middle of of 2 seasons. It's the end of the grass court season. The clay court season's long gone. Next up is hard courts. It's not like this fits into what they're doing next. This is a standalone. Once they finish this, they're straight off to the hard courts, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you would think that some of these players, we'll talk about a couple of them in detail later, will have had this in mind as a goal for the season. I think Casper Ruud mentioned it. Several of them have mentioned that this is one of their goals for the season. It's only every 4 years, and you've got to gamble on being fit that week in 4 years' time. These guys might not be. There's some young players on here. You might think, well, Alcaraz, for example, you might think, oh, he's got 2 or 3 more, 4 more Olympics. But not necessarily. He might be injured that time. So if they're fit and they've entered, you would imagine they're fairly highly motivated to win it.
And obviously, where the host is, the surface makes a big appeal. So a lot of players go into this tournament knowing they probably can't win it. So they just spend 2 weeks a week in the athletes' village with all the beach volleyball girls. That's right.
I must admit,
that's why I'd fancy it.
I had not thought of that.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'd love to be out there with the beach volleyball girls and
you could do that here. There's some beach volleyball over here.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 weeks out there, great.
Yeah, you've got to be in Paris though. It's not my favourite place, I have to say.
And it's there are lots of problems in Paris at the moment there with the problems they're having with the demonstrations. Anyway, that's a different show.
I haven't seen that.
They just don't need any excuse to demonstrate.
No, they don't.
Do they? So let's have it. It is in Roland-Garros. Obviously, it's the French Open was played there. Just the final, just over 6 weeks ago now. Is it going to be much different, do you think, court conditions now from then to now?
Well, we're expecting a bit of a heat wave.
Right.
So, yes, obviously it's a best of 3 sets this, just in case people aren't aware. I'm sure they are, but it's best of 3 rather than best of 5. Makes a slight difference. And quicker. I've got the weather written down here, actually. So, what day is today? Friday. So it's supposed to rain tomorrow. But after that, it goes from 27, 32, 33, back down slightly to 27 and some thunderstorms. But there's no number on this list that's less than 27 degrees. So, particularly Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that looks pretty hot conditions. And when it is hot at Roland-Garros, it does play quite quick. There's not a massively thick layer of clay there. So it is quite quick. I'm expecting that leads into one of the bets that I'm having, but I would say quicker than we saw at the French Open a couple of months ago. Yeah. Yep.
So quick conditions, good weather. Also, as well, is a lot of these players are playing doubles as well. I mean,
it leaves me cold. I couldn't care less. I mean, great for them, whatever. I think this is for the pure tennis fans that want to see like Alcaraz and Nadal playing together. To me, it means absolutely nothing. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to bet on it. So for me, whatever. It's for the real fans, the fans, the hardcore tennis fans. They want to see something like that because it doesn't happen anywhere else.
Probably the last time it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a big thing for some tennis fans, but to me, it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. The one thing you would expect, though, if you are going to bet, I mean, Bet Rivers will be betting on every single sport in the Olympics. There are loads of hosts of it. And obviously, the men's doubles as well, the women's doubles as well. They'll be betting on these matches. You would expect the Nadal and Alcaraz to be very, very short.
I'm not
price
sure how you
They're
price
probably
this
a
up.
fade, aren't they? Going to be a fade at some of
I
the
would have thought. We'll come on to Nadal in a minute, but I don't know how they price some of these doubles matches up. Scratch pairing like that, against a couple of guys that have played together for a few years. I wouldn't fancy them against a crack doubles pairing, but depends who they're playing. I don't know.
Well, let's have a look at the draw. And the big thing about the draw, the big talking point of the draw is Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, if they win their first round matches, will be scheduled to play in the second round. And that has been all the talk over social media. That's the big talking point of the draw. But let's have a look at the actual draw as a basis. If we look, it's a 64-player draw, and there's 16 seeds. So if it went to form, which obviously these things don't go to form, but if it did go to form, the first quarter would see Novak Djokovic or Nadal, who plays in the second round. So ideally, Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic will play Artur Fils, the very talented young Frenchman. In his way, Fils is Arnaldi. Then we have Bays against Tsitsipas, so that'd be the Q1. Q2 would be Zverev and Jarry up against Musetti or Fritz. Now, obviously, Fritz isn't really fancy this surface. Musetti's playing an awful lot of tennis. He's playing the doubles as well, and he's into the semi-finals here this evening in Numac. So he's got to play he's got to play the doubles tomorrow, or if he gets to the final, it's a scheduling nightmare. So
he'll be all right.
Yeah, in the first round he plays Monfils as well, which is an interesting match. Musetti Monfils. Then we go into the bottom half of the draw. Casper Ruud will be drawn against Humbert, the French guy who is up against Marozsán, who I watched last night lose against Rublev. Then we have Felix Auger-Aliassime and Medvedev. And in Q4 it will be Diminor, who plays Struff in round one, so a tricky match there. Tommy Paul, who, again, not favoured by this service. Mensik is in that draw as well. I watched it yesterday as well, was exceptional. And Tabio and Alcaraz. So that's your draw, your top half and your bottom half. Question marks about a lot of these players. A lot about the players like in Roland-Garros. Novak Djokovic and Nadal, the big question marks about their fitness. That's the main talking point in this draw. How do you weigh that draw up? In the quarters, the sections. Any advantage, any sort of areas you're concentrating on?
I'm looking at Q3 really as my starting point. I think it's a big ask for Carlos Alcaraz to win this. He's minus money, isn't he?
Yeah,
minus 125 to win it. I say this a lot, don't I? I can't have Alcaraz at this price, and he ends up winning. He won obviously the French and Wimbledon, but it's a massive ask for him to win this tournament. He's won French, he's won Wimbledon. Now he's got to win the Olympics. Nadal did it in 2008, but there was a bigger gap between Wimbledon and the Olympics. They played a couple of Masters tournaments on hard, and then obviously the Olympics was on hard. Then it was in Beijing, I think, wasn't it? So it was longer. The gap was longer, and he had 2 tournaments on that same surface to prepare. Alcaraz he's coming straight from Wimbledon, isn't he? And probably a 2 or 3. I don't know what he's been doing, but I guess he's been on holiday. You're the social media.
He has been on holiday. I've seen some stuff. He's
there you go.
He's out and about.
So
with the Spanish beach volleyball team.
Really?
Yeah. Allegedly.
I just think it's a big ask mentally as well, emotionally as well. He's the guy's just won French Open. He's won Wimbledon.
But he's also got a big sort of US hardcourt campaign coming up as well. The build-up to US Open.
Yeah.
I mean,
he can't win everything.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose potentially he could, but I don't know. I just think that minus money. I mean, no, not for me. I mean, there were times during Alcaraz's performance at Wimbledon and the French. There were many times when he was down 2-1, and he's had to come back and win in 4 or 5. This is best of 3 sets. He's not going to have that luxury here. A lot of the time he was outlasting people, wasn't he? And raising his level when he went 2-1 behind or a set all or whatever. He won't have that luxury here. The only time he played really well at Wimbledon was in the final. The rest of it was scratchy. Could have lost.
That was because Djokovic was spent.
Well, you could say that's even more to what I'm saying then, isn't it? He wasn't playing great. He's got to come in here now, having been on the beach or whatever he's doing, and he's minus money to win it. I just think it very rarely goes like this, does it? The Olympics. It's such a random event that's just thrown into the calendar. It never goes the way, or rarely goes the way that you think it's going to. Okay, Murray won it on the grass in 2012, Wimbledon. Yeah, okay. But some of the previous winners, Zverev won it last time.
Yeah, I've got Zverev, you've got Murray, Nadal, obviously. Then we've got Massou, Mark Rossi won it as well.
Yeah, Rossi, Nicolas Massou,
Massou, Michier. I mean, it doesn't go. Before we go on to the other runners and riders, let's give you the odds to win it. Now, Bet Rivers have 2 separate markets here, which is quite interesting, really, because not many sports books across America will have these markets. So unlike combat sports where you have a semi-finalist and they both share the third medal, you can't have a playoff between the guys being knocked out in the boxing and the other guys being knocked out they both share a bronze.
You probably could, but it might be dangerous.
Very dangerous, and it'd be very hard to price up. But what we have here is if you get a medal, Bet Rivers will give you a price because it's a bronze medal match as well. So Carlos Alcaraz is the favourite, minus 125, as Sean touched on there. But to win a medal is minus 335. Novak Djokovic, we know all the motivation in the world is on it. Everybody, it's the one thing it's eluded him. But can his body win this? And can his body get through it after what's been a very, very long Wimbledon campaign? He was found wanting towards the end. But he's minus 150 to win a medal. And he's on as Zverev, obviously, we'd say the defending champion is the current Olympic champion. He's $5 plus 140. Casper Ruud is 12, 2-1 to win a medal. Nadal 16, 4-1 to win a medal. Stefanos Tsitsipas 20-1, 4-1 to win a medal. Medvedev 25, 450 to win a medal. And Alex de Minaur 33-1 to win it for Australia and plus 750 to win a medal. There's loads of other runners and riders. Artur Fils is an interesting one, 66-1, 12-1 to win a medal. I bet Artur Fils, before I come out here, just probably just change the subject for a slight, I bet him at 400-1 to win the US Open.
400?
400.
Okay.
What do you think?
An interesting bet. But why to win the?
Well, that's the next major. He's playing exceptionally well. I thought he was brilliant winning the tournament that we tipped him up in Hamburg.
Yeah.
I thought he played really well at Wimbledon.
I think it's a stretch.
He's a player that's coming. I think he's going to play. I thought 400 was a bit big.
Possibly. I mean, generally speaking, these guys normally win a Masters before they win a major. Hasn't really been particularly close to winning a Masters series yet. But I mean, Marin Cilic won the US Open with very little form and certainly no Masters pedigree before then. He was about 150 to 1, wasn't he, when he won it? So, yeah, if these guys, if Carlos Alcaraz isn't fit, Djokovic is he's towards the end, very much towards the end of his career. He's very injury problems. He could sneak into a sort of semi-final, and then you've got a trade.
We trade out. We get him to the quarterfinals. We trade out, but that's all to come.
You can still have each way on this. Obviously, you don't have to do top three, can't you?
So. No, this is it. No, it's a winner market and a top three market.
So there's no each way.
I don't think there's any.
I think
each
there
way.
is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
There wasn't on the women's, so that's why I just presumed that it was just a winner market. So it must be half the odds. The third one to get to the final.
I think it's just half the odds to get to the final.
So maybe correct me. I was doing the women's with
That's
Rory
probably an extra market they've got.
I think we've obviously the fact that we didn't have it on the women's because Iga Swiatek is -$2, so that's probably why there's no. But they're both heavy odds on favourites. So anyway, that's Alpha Feast. That's coming up. That's coming up next month. The US Open.
We'll be there then.
We'll be there then. That'll be my next trip. Our next trip, and we'll be able to keep you covered on that. But it's Olympics now. So go on and take it away, Mr. Calvert. What have we got? Where are we going to go here? Where are we going to make some money?
I think the obvious choice in the top half is Zverev, but not many people defend this. I mean, Murray defended the title, but that was Andy Murray, absolute peak of his powers. I can't see Zverev doing it. He's the obvious choice if he's fit. Looking at this Q2 against, Jarry. Well, I'm going to come to Musetti in a minute. Fritz. He's got a decent draw. Djokovic, I think, is pretty much done, as far as I can tell, as is Nadal. Feast, the one you mentioned there, is got some sort of a chance, I think, in Q1. But I'm going to take Musetti at 60 to 1 each way. I think he's in excellent form. I know you're a little bit worried about his scheduling, but I think the confidence is a big thing with him. Semi-finalist at
He didn't
Wimbledon.
play very well last night. I watched him last night against Lajovic. He was very lucky. He didn't play very well in the first set. Lajovic was absolutely shattered.
Yeah, he did what he had to do against an opponent.
I've opposed him today, by the way, against Mensik, and I think for the reason he wants to get over there.
That might be the case. I mean, I haven't bet him for Umag, so I don't care.
Yeah. I 1.7 plus 175 this morning. Mensik was.
Mensik's a very funny player. He was terrible the grass season. Decent on hard. Then he had a shoulder. I think it was a shoulder injury. Certainly an arm injury of some description. Awful grass season, and all of a sudden didn't start well against Popyrin either. And then Popyrin fell away, and then since then he's been great. Although he did beat nothing yesterday in Sung. I think I could give Sung a decent match. I watched Sung against Fognini. Who would have, in their right mind, would have predicted Sung to win 6-1, 6-love on clay against Fognini?
And then lose the set 6-love against Mensik yesterday. It was terrible.
I mean, Fognini was absolutely awful.
I was at the top there because I could see both courts.
Yeah, that's what I said to you. There was you can look over the other side. Yeah, I think Musetti's confidence is as high as it's going to be at the minute. I mean, he's also met me in Lagan, which is
that's a boost.
A good boost. I think this draw looks if we're assuming Zverev isn't fit, which I think is a fair assumption after that knee issue. Then he went all the way in Hamburg on it, didn't he? I'm not sure he's totally fit. Musetti's got Fritz, who he was a comfortable winner on it, if you want to say that, over 5. He can't have a comfortable 5-set win, but he was clearly the better player against Fritz on grass. So I would expect him to be better on the clay. If we're taking Zverev out of that Q2, there isn't a great deal else in there. I'll talk about Jarry in a bit. But I think if Zverev isn't fit, Musetti can get through that section. He knows he can go toe-to-toe with Djokovic now. He arguably should have done a bit better in that Wimbledon match they played quite recently. I'm not totally convinced that Djokovic will get through. I think Feast will be a decent opponent for Novak Djokovic. Could even knock him out.
The French support
or Tsitsipas. Well. Tsitsipas over the best of 3. Obviously, a better chance against Novak rather than the best of 5, you would think. But I feel like he's got a decent chance at 60 to 1. That draw could open up, and then that one Q1
difficult
is also
opener though. Gael Monfils, Harris.
I think he beat Monfils in Paris at the French, didn't he?
You're asking.
I'm pretty sure he beat Monfils at the French Open like a couple of months ago. Same situation. So that doesn't worry me. He's already done it once. He can certainly do it again. 60 to 1 each way. That's the top half.
He's also leading the Italian host because no Yannick Sinner.
Yeah,
so he's the number 1 seed for the Italians.
Sinner once again ill.
Yeah,
he's like he's incredible, isn't he? Sinner with the illnesses and the injuries and all the rest of it. He's always got something. He's like the kid at school that was always off sick. There's always one in your class that was never there.
I can't believe you're having to go at someone's being a
Yeah,
hypochondriac.
the difference is I'm not off. Yes, I'm sometimes sick, but I still show up. That's the difference.
Yeah. I thought it was quite ironic. That,
Difference is I'm still there. Sinner isn't. He's going, I don't fancy it. So the bottom half, I'm taking. It's a punt on Lorenzo Musetti, and it's even more of a punt. I'm taking Medvedev here, 25-1 each way.
Wow, this is a shock selection because of the.
It is on the surface.
His comments of Clay, but he's quick though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be quick. He's won over the best of three. He won Rome, didn't he? You know, this guy's won Rome Masters on clay, best of three. The quicker conditions, I wouldn't fancy him if it was a bit slow and stodgy, but now that it's going to be quick, this Q3, the other obvious one is Casper Ruud, but what is he, 12-1?
Yeah.
It's too short for me, that. If
Who's Medvedev actually representing it?
An independent, I think.
So what
it just says AIN.
So what if he wins India?
AIN.
Oh, AIN. Sorry.
I think it just means they desperately don't want him to win, I think, is what it means.
So what do they do if he wins it? How do they get around it?
I think they just put a medal on him, don't play any... I don't know, what did all the other Russians do?
I don't know, it hasn't happened. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Well, you'll be able to see, because I imagine some of these athletes, not necessarily in tennis, but in all the other sports, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I would actually love Medvedev to win it just for that, just to see what happens, but... Yeah, I think with this, you've got to think outside the box. This isn't a Grand Slam. This doesn't always go to form by any means. This Q3 is open. Casper Ruud, yes. Is it going to be too quick for him? Yes, quite possibly. So that brings in Medvedev, who's got a very good draw. He's beaten Felix numerous times. There's nobody else in there. Cerundolo is the other one, I think, that could be a bit of a wild card at a big price. He could potentially go well. Other than that, I think that's a very good quarter for Medvedev. Yes, he's not a great matchup for Alcaraz on clay, but I'm hedging my bets that Alcaraz won't get that far. Somebody in Q4 has got to beat him. So
are we going to go for him on the winner market, the each way market, or the top three market?
Both of them I'll just take each way, the usual bet.
Yeah.
60-1 Musetti, 25-1. Medvedev. It is a little bit out there, but I think you do have to think slightly differently for this.
Yeah, if you do want to take the price to get them, win the medal, Lorenzo Musetti's 9-1 with Bet Rivers. Medvedev is plus 450. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. Not only on the tennis, there's a whole host of markets on the Olympics, the athletics, all the different sports as well. The soccer tournament has already started as well. So there's a whole host of action on the Bet Rivers app. Let's move on to some matches. We've got 4 matches we're going to discuss. The first match is involving Rafael Nadal, obviously the Olympic champion back in 2008. He's up against Marton Fucsovics, a very talented player who's very capable on his day. Doesn't have many days, but he's very talented when he does.
He has many days, well, not many days, but many injuries, unfortunately.
Nadal's minus 220 to win this match. Fucsovics is plus 170. The spread is 3.5, minus 121 for Fucsovics, receiving 3.5. Rafa minus 105, giving up 3.5. The total 21.5 over minus 121, under minus 106. If they've never played before, if you look at Fucsovics' form, he's lost his last 6 matches. He's in a terrible run. But Nadal
he's been injured again.
Nadal's injured as well, but he did reach the final in Båstad where it was a match too far for Rafa and he was annihilated, really, quite embarrassing.
Well, he's 38 years of age with more injury problems than you and I put together, I think, isn't he? He's very much on his last...
That's a lot of injury.
He's very much on his last legs, isn't he? So the odds have moved on this quite considerably, haven't they? Nadal reportedly had to cancel his training session due to an injury. I think they said it was a thigh injury or hamstring, something like that. So he cancelled his training sessions. In this day and age, you can't really get away with that, can you?
No.
Because everyone knows they normally do a schedule, don't they, of who's training when. And if they don't show up, people know about it. And I think Carlos Moya said something about it on social media, about him having to cancel the training session. So Fucsovics has come in from 3.35 plus 235 to 2.7 plus 170. So there's been a decent sized move for Fucsovics based on that injury. If we can just take that to one side for a minute. I mean, Nadal's level in Båstad was, it was nowhere near the old Nadal. If we look at his stats, I've just got him on this other computer here. They're miles down on his glory days. You don't need to be great at the tennis stats to see that when you've watched him play in Båstad. Last 12 months on clay at main level, Nadal 64% win rate, which is the same as Fucsovics, and his service points won and return points won total is 101.5. Okay, Fucsovics is on 103. So in the last 12 months on this surface, Fucsovics has got a better record. If we look at Nadal's overall career record at Roland-Garros, a service points won and return points won total of 115 and a service hold and break total of 130. That's where he was.
Yeah, he's right.
Now he's like this 101.5, and now he's got another injury. I mean, this is just going to keep happening, isn't it?
Also the doubles. I mean, that's
The doubles as well, which he's not going to want to pull out of that, is he?
No.
He may pull out of this. I don't know. He's already won the gold, doesn't he, in the singles? Yeah. He may decide that his body just isn't
He'll
good
fancy
enough.
The challenge against Djokovic, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They need that's this match. I think whoever loses, if he wins out, I think he might pull out the tournament.
It feels like one of them title fights between two boxers that never fought each other, and they just got it on at the end of their career for a bit of money. It kind of feels a little bit like that. The issue I've got with backing Fucsovics is once again fitness. I mean, this guy's built like a Greek god. When you see him playing, the physique is unbelievable. He's always injured though. He's like a finely tuned racehorse. There's always something a little bit wrong with him. But he usually raises his level in big tournaments and versus big players. If you look what he's done against top 5 ranked players in his career, he's either won the opening set or lost it on a tiebreak 7 times in 14 matches. So half the time he's either won the set or failed in a tiebreak. And that's the quality that he does have. The belief upstairs, sadly, isn't there for him. Once he's lost that first set on a tiebreak, he does tend to fade away. So if you're betting in this one, and I think a lot of people will be watching this, won't they?
Oh, yeah.
With a great deal of interest. So either over 22.5 games at plus 110, I think it was earlier when I looked with Bet Rivers, or the more expansive play, if you want to call it that, plus 140, 2.4 about Fucsovics winning the opening set. It's a little bit tricky to have an official play because of the injury situation with both of these guys, particularly Nadal in this case, but I think we have to go with Fucsovics. He's certainly been nibbled at Fucsovics since that, more than nibbled at, quite substantially.
Yep, money around Nadal, obviously carrying an injury, got the pressure of playing the doubles as well. Everyone hopes and expects him to play Djokovic in round 2, but things don't go to the script, especially at the Olympics here. So Fucsovics is the lean, over 22.5, over 21.5 is minus 121. Fucsovics to win the opening set is plus 140. Head across to the Bet Rivers website and app. There is about 36 different markets available on this match as we speak. And the next match we're going to discuss is Fabian Marozsán, a player I watched yesterday, playing against Andrei Rublev against Ugo Humbert. Marozsán is plus 130. Ugo Humbert is minus 159. The spread is 2.5. Fabian Marozsán receiving 2.5 is minus 129. Humbert giving up 2.5 is plus one even money. The total is 22.5 with over minus 121 and under minus 106. They have met once before. Humbert won 6-3, 6-3 in the Davis Cup, so they represented their country in that match. But this is very different. Humbert,
hard, wasn't it?
Humbert on a clay court, not really a clay court, left-hander. Marozsán played well yesterday in the first set against Rublev, and he had Rublev rattled, but then I don't think he really went. I think he went out there. Especially
you watched the match, I didn't see it.
I think set 3, he just thought, right, I've got to go. I'm going to go off to the Olympics. I've got to play a Frenchman in Paris. I could do without this. He had no bite in him. There's no spirit in him in set 3. But he was lucky actually. To be fair, he broke early in the first set.
Was ahead, wasn't he?
Yeah, broke early in the first set. Rublev was serving at 5-4, and then Rublev had a meltdown. He nicked the first set. Once he won the second set, Marozsán gave up completely, down tools, and I thought he just thought,
he's gone to the Olympics.
Get me to the Olympics.
Representing Hungary, as is, of course, is Fucsovics. I think this is a terrible price on Humbert. I really do. Marozsán, as you saw yesterday, very, very solid on his backhand side. He's won all 3 main level matches that he's played on clay against left-handers. So he's beat Corentin Moutet, Thiago Monteiro the other day here, and Juan Manuel Cerundolo, the lesser Cerundolo, as some people like to say. But he's still a decent player in his day. So he's won all 3 on clay at main level against left-handers. Humbert's played 1 match on clay since Wimbledon, lost it as a pretty heavy favourite to world number 178, Gustavo Haider, in Gstaad. So his preparation, hasn't been ideal. If you look at the last 12 months on clay at main level, their service points won and return points won totals are exactly the same, both on 100. So if you're going on that, I'm not sure where this minus 159 comes from. If you're looking at Humbert's Roland-Garros record, then it's even worse. He's won 1 out of 8 matches he's played at Roland-Garros. And in those, one of those was in qualies, but the others were in main draw. So he's 1-6 in the main draw of the French Open. And his service points won and return points won total in those matches is 96.
Ooh, shocking.
So we're being asked to back him at minus 159. If the layers are thinking this is a home advantage, Well, not
Well, the
really.
pressure on the French players is
Not
is
really,
immense as well.
because this guy's won 1 out of the 8 matches he's played at this tournament. The French are going to be all over him if he starts poorly. You know, they're going to be whistling and all sorts, aren't they? And I just don't see how that's a home advantage. Players like Gasquet and Monfils, they all say that, a lot of them say they hate playing at Roland-Garros because it's, the crowd is quite unforgiving, isn't it? If they don't get entertained and get what they want, then they'll turn on you pretty quickly.
Would you be
as they did here with Fognini the other day, by the way.
And it would be much more partisan with the Olympics as well.
Yeah, you would have
much
thought
more.
so.
You would have thought.
It just doesn't represent any value for me. Not on stats, not on Humbert's clay record, not on his record at Roland-Garros. As I've said, Marozsán has shown how capable he is against left-handers on this surface. So, yeah, I'll take Marozsán.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marozsán is plus 130.
And he's been playing on clay, of course,
Playing
as well.
clay here, used to the conditions, hot here, hot in Roland-Garros, very similar kind of surface. Didn't really put it in yesterday in the final set, but there's excuses for that. But his form,
left to 3.
His form coming
Top 10 player.
Reached the quarterfinals. Ended a bad run as well. He had 2 good matches to get to the quarterfinals. A bit of a bad run form, and he's capable of making upset, as we know. We've said many times in the show. He beat Alcaraz, didn't he, in Rome, which was a sort of a kind of a gladiator sort of performance, and he's up against Humbert here in the Frenchman's backyard.
Yeah,
and he's got a terrible record.
He's not going to mind. Now, it's Humbert's going to be the more nervous out of these two, surely.
Yeah, Marozsán plus 130 is our first official pick on the men's singles at the Olympics. The dogs agree with us. The dogs agree with us.
It's that horrible little Pomeranian thing down there.
They agree with that pick. Let's move on to another player who's had some glory years over here at Roland-Garros, a player that's always lovely to watch, Stanislas Wawrinka, but coming to the end of his career up against Pavel Kotov. Pavel Kotov, they've met once before, and it was in this year's French Open, and Kotov won 3-1 in Roland-Garros in Paris. Kotov here is minus 150. Stanislas Wawrinka is plus 120 to gain revenge from that defeat only 6 weeks ago now. The spread is 2.5, plus 2.5 for Wawrinka, minus 148, minus 2.5 for Kotov, plus 114, which to me looks a little bit generous. Total 22.5 over, minus 115, under 22.5 is minus 110. It seems the end of an era. Nadal is towards the end of his career. Djokovic coming to the end of his career. We've lost Murray as well. He's not going to play the doubles here. Federer is obviously gone, and Wawrinka the last
still
great
going
as well.
Still going,
but only just, isn't he?
He is only just. I mean, I think this is a little bit disrespectful. The price, as you said, they played this exact tournament only a few months ago. There's only 4 points in it over 4 sets.
Right.
Service points won and return points won. It was 101 to 99 in favour of Kotov, so it was very, very tight. You would think the best of 3 gives Wawrinka more of a chance, wouldn't you? Rather than the best of 5.
Yeah.
But now he's a bigger price now than he was then. He was 2.08 plus 108 to win at the French Open. Now he's what, plus 120? I'm not sure that makes any real sense to me. But I've got a theory in this one. Could work, might not.
I like the theories.
It's a very, very strong trend that Stan starts his matches these days very quickly at a good level, at his best level, but he can't maintain it, as you would expect for a 40-year-old. So he's either won his opening set or lost it in a tiebreak in 11 of his last 13 main level matches, including the one against Kotov, which I think he lost 7-6 in the opening set. And set 1 has gone over 10.5 games in 7 of those 13, which is 54% of the time. Now, Bet Rivers are giving us plus 220 that this goes over 10.5. And obviously conditions here, as I've said, are going to be quicker. I haven't seen the schedule of play yet, which is a little concerning. I think this is scheduled last on Saturday, but if it's raining all day, then this is not going to be on Saturday. It'll be on the Sunday when it's going to be, I think, 28 degrees or something like that. So even so, it wasn't quick conditions when they met last time. They still went a set 1 tiebreak. So there's a very strong trend for Wawrinka here, and it makes sense, doesn't it, for him to come out, give it his all, and then just physically not be able to carry on over 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. So it does make sense. So plus 220 over 10.5 games in set 1. I think this is probably a decent play on the hot days, because the French Open does play quicker than people think when it's hot, and it's certainly going to be hot if that weather forecast is correct.
It does seem to be a trend in recent weeks, though, on these clay court events, that the overs in set 1 have been cashing a lot more than the traditionally.
It just depends on the conditions, Kitzbühel, Gestard.
Here, he's been a lot of them here.
Here is unusual because it's this average is about 27% tiebreak matches. So like 78, 70-something% of them don't feature a tiebreak historically here. But I think it depends on the scheduling as well, because as you said, it's pretty hot at like 4:30 when the first matches start. So that would sort of make sense as well. But I think you have to try and, again, it's just thinking outside the box. If it is going to be quicker, then the bet makes sense, because the layers are probably pricing this up as a sort of bog standard clay event. But if it is going to play quicker, then the value is with that.
Yep. So over 10.5 first set games, plus 220 with Bet Rivers, a massive price. Check out the order of play. It has been known the match is going to be scheduled for Friday and Saturday, but obviously there's a rain forecast.
Saturday, the first matches, isn't it?
Yeah, Saturday's first match. We're called this Friday. I'm getting confused. Saturday, but there's a bit of rain around on Saturday, so they may go into Sunday as well. So the best thing to do is make sure you get your plays on nice and early when this podcast drops. Head across to the Bet Rivers app and get the bets down. Our final match is Nicolas Jarry up against Alexei Popyrin. Jarry is obviously the king of altitude, loves it. Altitude, hasn't had a great record at any other tournaments, but he's got a brilliant head-to-head against Popyrin. Leads 3-0 in the head-to-head. And he's 9-8 on clay this year compared to 2-7 from Popyrin. Jarry is minus 148. Popyrin is plus 120. The spread here is 1.5. Minus 1.5 for Jarry is minus 115. The total, and we say it all the time in Jarry matches, they love the high match. They love getting these very, very high.
Popyrin as well, it's going to be high, isn't it?
Over 23.5 is evens, and under 23.5 is minus 127. I must admit, Sean, when you sent me the list of bets through today, and I looked at these four matches, I saw minus 148 Jarry, and I saw the minus 1.5 at minus 115, and I thought, I've got to have a bit of that. I thought he was going to be too strong for an out-of-form Popyrin.
I think you'll get a better price than that as well. The line's moving weirdly towards Popyrin.
It's got to be an injury play or something, surely.
I think that's it, because, I mean, if Jarry is fit, he looks a very decent bet. Anywhere around about 1.8. What's that, minus 125?
Yeah.
Anywhere around that. I'm trying to do my maths. Anywhere around that, and I think you'll get that, because this line is moving.
But that scares me now. That scares me.
Well, that doesn't bother me. I like that. If the price is getting bigger, well, I suppose if you're looking at that Jarry match that we talked about the other day, when Jarry drifted out, he was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This is the thing. If Jarry is fit,
Jarry, not Jarry.
Yeah, Jarry, Laszlo Jarry against Seiboth World. It's almost the same pronunciation, isn't it? You know, if he is fit, he looks a very good price. I mean, Popyrin was dreadful in that match that I saw against Mensik the other day. I was expecting him to come back in the set, having lost the first set, in which Mensik had won 1 point on the Popyrin serve up until Popyrin donated his serve away. Mensik had done nothing in that opening set. Nicked it. Well, Popyrin gave it him, really. A couple of really loose errors. There's something going on with him, I think, at the minute, either off the court or just physically. For him not to come back in that second set as the defending champion and just go down as tamely as he did. You know, he's lost a lot of ranking points there. And not just the ranking points, just, you know, you are defending champion. They gave you a prime slot on the centre court. You know, they could have put him on one of the outside courts. Popyrin's not a massive name, is he? Neither is Mensik, really, but they put him on as the defending champion on the show court, and he just didn't show up at all. What he's done this year on clay has been really disappointing compared to last year. This year, 2-7 win-loss, as you said, and the service points won and return points won total 93. You know, that's probably about 10 points down on what he did last year, which is huge. Jarry had a decent season, got to the, semis in Rome, was it? Semi-finals in Rome, or finals in Rome?
Yep.
Certainly went a long way in Rome, didn't he? Lost to Zverev. 9-8 in win-loss, service points won and return points won total 99. Not fabulous, but a full 6 points better than what Popyrin's done. And this is perhaps the most interesting thing. Jarry was a minus 270 favourite when they met in Monte Carlo in very similar conditions to what they're going to get at Roland-Garros only a year ago. And Popyrin was playing his best clay court tennis 12 months ago rather than now. He was 1.37 in decimal. Now I think you're going to get about 1.8.
Wow. So
I think the odds are about Jarry's fitness. But given that he's a very patriotic and proud Chilean who's played 26 Davis Cup ties, this is a guy who loves playing for his country. The Chileans, when you've seen them here and other places, they really get a ton of support, don't they? Wherever they go. Wherever they go, they get loads of support, and he's going to be very, very.
I see him in Miami, and
yes,
Chilean
definitely
support,
Miami. All the South Americans
absolutely
there, yeah,
great. I saw Jarry play.
Wherever they go,
incredible.
They get huge support, and they did that little song, don't they? Viva Chile and all that. They love it. They absolutely love it, and he will love representing Chile at the Olympics. I think because he's not really played hardly at all since that Rome final. He's played a couple of matches, but he's pulled out of most of his tournaments. I think he's made this a priority to be fit for this, rather than see how he goes in Gstaad and Kitzbühel, because he normally plays really well in those tournaments, whichever he chooses, Geneva, Gstaad. Those are his conditions. So I suspect he's saving himself for this. So if you can get about 1.8, I can't really put it up here because that price isn't official yet, but I think you'll get that. I think that's probably a decent play. It is a bit of a gamble based on his fitness, but Popyrin's dreadful at the minute, and I think it's a fair price.
Yeah, currently minus 148. It's on the drift. The money's coming for Popyrin. There may be some sort of injury worry that's slightly putting me off a little bit, but Sean's made an excellent case. And if Jarry wasn't fit, as a proud Chilean, he would not be coming to this tournament, and he's going to get a huge amount of support. So it's all good. It's all looking good there for Jarry bettors. If you're going to get the minus 120, we can get a really nice price there. So the official picks, Sean, we're just going to go for the 2 official picks.
Yeah, I'm taking a punt on the Wawrinka one, which I think is just a nice price. I think this is just, this business is about trying to find the good prices and the value, isn't it? So that's over 10.5 games in set 1 of Wawrinka against Kotov, plus 220 with Bet Rivers. I think we have to take Marozsán at this price, plus 130 with Bet Rivers to beat Humbert, whose record at Roland-Garros is pretty awful.
Yeah, huge pressure on the Frenchman and pressure on all the French players in the men's and the women's tournament. Talking to women's tournaments, I've done a podcast a little bit earlier, and a show a little bit earlier with Rory Girani, betting weekly WTA, and Rory's in fire. He gave Magda Linette at 10-1, who won the tournament in Prague this week. So he's now good. Profit is now up to 12.19 units for Rory. Looking very, very good there. Heading into the Olympics, and we are plus 6.43 units on the season so far on the ATP Tour. So between us, just over 18.5 units of profit across both shows, which is nice. Nice little return. Nice little bit of money for you heading into the Olympics. Sean, this is your last day, and you make you flying back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm being picked up here at 10:30, supposedly.
Yep. So safe journey back, my friend.
Thank you.
Journey back. You'll be able to join myself and Sean back. Sean will be back at home.
I quite like this format. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I can't be travelling to Leon C though every week.
That'll be difficult. Well, 3 times a week to Leon.
We can do it again. When we're out in New York, we can meet up again.
Not in my patio.
Well,
you should see the place I'm staying in New York.
I have to have a bulletproof rest when I go to York.
I'll be in Woodside.
You come to my place. You'll be right. We'll have a Pims on.
If you've got decent Wi-Fi and a balcony, yeah.
Well, I don't know about. We'll have a balcony. I'm not quite sure about decent Wi-Fi. But I hope you enjoyed the podcast here in UMAG over the last week. Sean and I will be back on Sunday. Like I say, Sean will be back in the UK. I'll be back. I'll be staying out here until Monday. We'll be looking ahead to the 500 event this week in Washington. Also give you an update on the Olympics as well, I'm sure, as throughout the tournament. Make sure you follow all the stuff we are doing on Instagram and Twitter at Because We Win. I'll be doing some videos here today for semi-finals and tomorrow for the final in UMAG. Like I say, Rory has a podcast with myself on Betting Weekly WTA. You can download that and this Game Better Match on your preferred podcast provider, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. Thank you very much for all the new subscribers. Keep them coming. Great views as well. Any questions, any suggestions, anything you want to ask, or any bets you may have, share them with us here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. That's it for our Olympic special. Head across the BetRivers website. Not only Olympics, this is the time of year everyone becomes an expert on curling. No, not curling. We haven't got curling. What have we got here?
The Winter Olympics, isn't it?
Badminton. What do they have in these? I don't even follow them.
Weightlifting.
Rory's commentating on the weightlifting.
Is he?
Weightlifting.
Well, with all due respect, what does Rory know about weightlifting? I mean,
he just told me that he's commentating on it. I don't know who he knows, but
how can you commentate on weightlifting? I mean, what is there to say? He's about to lift it. He either lifts it or he doesn't.
Oh, he's lifted it. He's lifted it.
What else is there to say?
It's he didn't lift it.
Is there any tactics involved? I mean,
I think it's the way you do your voice. You go, he's going to get out. Oh, yes, great lift.
So it's just intonation.
Yeah. He's lifting it. Oh no, he didn't lift it.
That doesn't sound like Rory's kind of commentary.
That's my commentating on weightlifting.
I can't see Rory doing it like that.
I don't know how he'll do it better than me anyway.
I imagine.
That's been it for today. That's been it for the week. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back on Sunday looking ahead to all the action in Washington next week. Take care.